It is the halfway point of 2017. So how are your goals coming? Are you halfway through your goals you set for the year? Or can you see how you're building momentum and you're going to get there by the end of the year? Or are you realizing that you're not halfway to where you wanted to be by the end of the year? Today, we're going to talk about what you can do about the goals you haven't reached yet, or that you're not even in the process of reaching, and how to reset your goals, reassess what's going on, figure out a process so you can get where you want to go by the end of the year. Welcome to Explore Your Enthusiasm, episode 163 with me, Tara Swiger. First of all, deep breaths. Wherever you are is exactly where you should be. It's where you needed to be in order to move to the next step. Whatever you've done or haven't done has brought you here. So a deep breath. In fact, what we're going to focus on in this episode and what I want you to focus on when you are thinking about your goals, not where you thought you would be or where you should be, but on getting really honest and clear about where you are and where you truly want to go next. So it doesn't matter where you thought or planned to be. What matters is where you actually want to be and where you want to go next. So we're going to use the plans you made at the new year to learn what's really happening in your business and in your life. But we're going to use them not as a tool to flog yourself, but as a tool to figure out what's going on and where you want to go next. So this episode has a worksheet. I'm going to ask you a lot of questions in this episode, and the episode has a worksheet where I've asked you all those questions and given you space to fill them out. You can download it at taraswiger.com/podcast163. If you scroll down, there's a form. You put in your email address, you'll get this transcript, and then you'll also get a worksheet for you to fill out to reassess the end of, or the midpoint of your year. So let's start with your plans. What were your goals for 2017? And did you break those goals down into smaller goals for you to accomplish each quarter or each month? Once you think about that, how did it go? Are you where you thought you'd be? And how do you feel about that? Wherever you are, how do you feel about that? It's important to stop at this point and actually journal about this. Actually write it out. Don't just keep it in your head. Don't just beat yourself up or kind of ponder it for a minute, but pause the podcast, get out that worksheet or your journal and write out both where you thought you'd be and how you feel about it. This is going to be the data you're going to use to set your next goal and to pick your next direction or to stay with this direction. But if you don't get it out of your head and get it in writing, it's going to be really hard for you to see or to learn from. And I'll tell you what, if you're really busy or you're in the middle of washing dishes while you listen, or you're changing your baby's diaper, well, maybe not if you're changing your baby's diaper, but if you are doing something else, I'll tell you what I do. I open the Notes app on my phone, click the cursor, and then I hit the little microphone so that it's like voice to text, or open up your voice memos app and leave yourself a voice memo. I do the voice to text so that it's in writing and I can read it later and kind of go over it later. Yeah, they get a lot of words wrong, but it lets me leave a note to myself. It's especially important if you're driving. Don't journal while you're driving, but talk it out to yourself. So once you have that down and you know where you want to go, then you're allowed to move on to these next questions. So it's very easy to decide on a path and then just stick with it. No matter what kind of feedback we get, both from our internal and external environments, it's easy to just go with the same thing you've been going with because you decided to go that direction. However, it's not very sustainable. It's much more sustainable, and you're going to grow much quicker if you stop and reassess. What am I learning here? What can I tweak or change to move more quickly? What have I figured out? Sometimes the reassessment is going to tell you to go in a totally different direction, and that is going to feel like you've messed up. So often my students will set a goal at the beginning of the year, like for the whole year. They'll break it down, they'll start working on it. Then they realize that's not where they want to be. And invariably they're upset with themselves about this, that they feel like they should have done it different or better. They should have known that's not the goal they wanted to go. No, that's a total waste of time. Better to realize it and make a change now in June and July than to wait till the end of the year and realize it's not what you wanted or you didn't want to go after it in that way. So if you're on track with your goals and you're feeling awesome about them, yay, that's totally great. Your next step is to look at what you need to do next Then break it down into a 3-month goal and make a plan and a map to get yourself there with all of the actions you're going to take in the order you're going to take them in. You can use my book, Map Your Business, to help you make that plan. You'll find it at taraswiger.com/map. It's exactly what it does. It's help you see the big picture, break it down into a plan. You can go do that now if you're on track. Awesome. If you're not on track or you're not feeling great about what you've done, maybe you're on track but you're not happy with it, another deep breath. You are not alone. This happens to all of us all of the time. When you are doing something totally new and creating something that never existed before, it is normal to not know exactly where you're going and to need to change up your plan and your goals all the time. So as you're looking at what your goal is for the year and what you need to change in order to feel great, you have a few options. 1 is you can change your goal. 2, you can change how you go about it. 3, you can change the actions you take. So let's talk about which one you need to do, 1, 2, or 3, and how you know when you need to do it. The first option is you just change your goal. So when you look at your goal for the year, if you can see that you're clearly not moving towards it, I want you to take a minute and ask yourself, do I still want this goal? There are all kinds of reasons for not wanting a goal anymore. Maybe your life changed. Maybe you learned that goal will require you to do something that you don't want to do or you're not interested in. Maybe you realize it was just a should and not really what you wanted. Maybe someone else, you saw what they were doing and you thought you should do it. Or maybe it was just like something you realize you don't want. So no matter the reason, don't beat yourself up. Just recognize that you don't want it anymore, or maybe you don't want it right now, and let go of it. Instead, go back to your bigger picture. What is your mission for your business? What is your mission for your life? Where do you want to go in the long term? And set a goal for the rest of the year that feels more in alignment with what you really want from your life. You can use Map Your Business to get this bigger picture. It's what we talk about in the first part of it. And to get clarity, and then break that down into steps and make a plan. But no beating yourself up for having gone after a goal you don't want anymore. Now, another reason people decide that they don't want a goal is because they stop believing it's possible. So it might be you truly don't want the goal, or it might be that doubt has crept in. You see the progress you've made so far, you feel like you're working as hard as you can. Maybe it's just not possible. So often people realize that the level of work required to get to this goal is huge. And they think, oh man, I can't do that. I'm not capable of that. I'm not good enough, worthy enough, talented enough, smart enough, pretty enough, thin enough. I will not be able to get there. So if that's the reason for you not wanting this goal, stop. Stop. The question we're dealing with now is not whether you can do it, but the question is, do you want it? So when I say change your goal, I'm asking, do you still want this goal? Not, do you believe you can do it? Because if you really, really want this goal, the only question is, are you willing to become the kind of person who can do it? Are you willing to put into the work? Are you willing to change your stories? Are you willing to be patient? Are you willing to work on all of your self-doubt that will come up as you work towards it? If so, don't change your goal, keep going. I had to bring that up because so many people decide that they don't want a goal because of self-doubt, because they just think they can't reach it. That's not the question. The question, can I do this? Am I good enough? Will always lead you to say no. Instead, the question is, do I want it bad enough to become the kind of person who can make it happen? And usually that kind of person isn't nearly as talented and pretty and thin and perfect as you think that they are. All right, so step 2, or option 2, when you're thinking about your goals, you can change how you go about it. So if you do still want this goal, or you realize that you're just having some doubt, but it is something you really want, the next question is, are you currently going about it in a way that makes sense? So maybe you want a book deal, and you decided, well, I need a bigger audience. So you spend all year learning everything you can about Instagram and trying to grow your following on Instagram. Well, is that getting you closer to a book deal? It may be. But if not, then you need to reassess how you're going about getting that goal. If you feel great about it, that's awesome. If not, maybe it's time to shift your focus to something more related to the goal that you want, like writing a book proposal. Maybe your goal is a specific number in revenue, and you've been spending all of your time setting up your email list and writing long emails each week. if you have a plan for this, how this is increasing sales, or if you can see that it's already increasing sales, just not to the level you thought, or maybe it took a longer time to set up than you thought, that's okay. Keep going. You're going about it in a way that's working. But if not, maybe it's time to focus more on sales and less on the systems or the technology. So maybe you need to make clearer calls to action in your Instagram post, or clearer, more deliberate emails when you're sending the emails. Maybe you need to send different kinds. Maybe you need to make them directly related to a product. There are a lot of ways that you could shift and go about it in a way that's more in alignment with what your goal really is. In other words, I want you to make sure that you're truly taking action that will get you to your goal. I want you to really make sure that your plan and what you're doing is in alignment with where you say you want to go. The thing is, I get emails all the time from people who are stuck at this point. They're like, but what actions? But what will get me there? But I'm going to tell you something. I know for sure you already know the things you need to do to get there. You might not know the technical details, the tactics, in which case take a class, learn how it works. But in general, you know the basics of business are this, and I tell them here to you all of the time. The first, make your product. If you're a handmade business owner or you sell designs, make the thing you sell. Keep making them, make more of them, list them, make them available for sale. I can't believe how many people ask me, how do I have more sales? And I look and they don't have anything in their shop, or they have 2 or 3 or 10 things in their shop. Make more things, put them in your shop. Clearly describe your products. Make sure that you have truly product descriptions and not just 2 sentences. Make sure you have good photos. That goes along with listing your product, making your photos as great as they can be, making your product description as great as it can be. Next step, share your product regularly. More than once a week, be talking about your product, your process, your business, your behind the scenes of you making the thing. Instagram's a great place for this. Emails where you tell people about your products is a great place for this. Your website, whatever, you need to be sharing it regularly with wherever you already have followers. And then the last thing is to engage with potential buyers. You've heard me talk about stalking your buyers, talking to them, figuring out what they want, figuring out what they're looking for, and talking to them. Not just waiting for people to discover you, but you going and commenting and building a relationship with the kind of people who would be your right buyers. Even if those particular people never buy, just building relationships so you get to know what they're looking for. That's it. Those are the things. If you want more revenue, if you want more growth, if you want your business to grow, you need to make product, list the product, describe it clearly with good photos, share it regularly, and then engage with potential buyers. Have conversations with your subscribers and your followers and go follow them. Now, those are truly the basics. If you're not reaching your goals around growth, you need to revisit this cycle and do it again and again. Every new business I've ever started comes back to this. Now, something like the comic book shop, you're not making or listing the product, but you're buying the product and you're keeping it in stock. Then you're sharing it, doing marketing, and then you're engaging with people who come into the shop. Same thing with anything. If you're selling a direct selling product, you already have the product, but you need to be sharing how you're using it in your life, sharing regularly, then engaging with people who might be interested, inviting them, giving them samples, then following up. It's always that same cycle. Now, if you have a goal about something other than growth, you might be like, well, that's not what I need to do. If it's something like focusing on a specific tool, like I want to get really good at Instagram or emails, or maybe your goal is to get more peace or ease or to take more time off, you know what you need to do for that as well. 100% of the time when I ask a couple questions, people know what they need to do. So don't ask someone else. Sit down with a journal and ask yourself, what do I need to do to reach this goal? Really, what is in alignment with what I need to do to reach this goal? What'll actually take me there? 100% of the time, you know more actions that you need to take. You just might not be taking the ones that are related, or that brings us to the third thing. You might not be actually doing the actions you know you need to take. Oh, someone who's watching on Instagram says, I'd like to know how this translates to a service-based business. This is so much in alignment, I have to hit on this. So, when I said the basics of your business, make a product, list a product, describe it, share it, engage with buyers, the exact same thing for your service-based business. Describe what the service is clearly first and put a price on it. Then talk about doing it regularly. On Instagram, talk about, yay, I have a client call, or I'm about to work on a graphic design project. Share your portfolio of projects once they're done. Share your client testimonials. That all goes under sharing about the product regularly, and then engage with potential buyers. If you are a copywriter who works with handmade businesses, go connect with handmade businesses who may need copywriters. If you're a website designer, go connect with businesses who are looking for websites. If you're a teacher, go connect with students who might need what you're teaching. So it's exactly the same thing, except for when you make your product, you're just going to be like putting it in a package to explain to people what they get. So the third thing you can do with your goal is to change your actions. You may have the right goal, you may have the right plan, and if you do, and you're like, yeah, I'm happy with my goal, it's definitely where I still want to go, I have a plan that should be getting me there, the final question is, are you taking the action you need to take? Are you doing the things you know you need to do to build your business? This is super simple. You just need to get honest with yourself. Either you're taking the action that is needed to reach your goal, or you're not. Or it's possible that you are, but you're not doing it at the volume or intensity that is matched to your goal. So if your goal is to increase revenue, let's say 10 times, check out and you're just increasing revenue right now, you're just doubling it or something, or you're just increasing a little bit each month. It might be that for such a big goal, you need a higher volume of action. You need to be doing the things more than you are, or an intensity. You need to be doing it to more people. You need to be doing it more focused. That's what I mean. With your actions need to line up with the size of your goal. So this might bring us back to the first question where you need to change your goal. If you're not willing to or able to take more action, maybe you don't have more time. This is something that comes up every time I talk to moms who are staying home with their kids. You have a limited time. You have the time that your kid is at daycare or with a sitter or on a nap. That might mean that your goal isn't in alignment with what the time you have to spend. If you were doing all of the things that you can do and you know you're doing the right things and it's just taking longer than you thought, that's okay. That's because those are the actions lined up with a maybe smaller growth. That's totally all right. By the way, I've talked to a lot of businesses who have grown quickly with young children at home, and those women always tell me, I got more daycare. I realized I wanted to grow faster, so I got more daycare, might not be the right word, childcare. Someone took the child for more hours so that I could do the actions I needed to do at the right volume and intensity. And if that's not what you want to do, that's okay. Just recognize that. So if this is you, if what I said about taking the right actions just really hit you, take another deep breath. Give yourself permission to be exactly where you are. It is okay. It is all right. If you had this big goal and you haven't been taking the action and, I just gave you a little tough love and you recognized you haven't been taking the action, give yourself permission to be where you are. Your business is always going to be built from exactly where you are now. It's all right that you're not somewhere else. You have total permission to be here, to have learned the lessons you needed to learn in the last 6 months, in the last several years. And then this came up recently in a Starship chat. You need to forgive yourself for not having done what you wish you would have done. Forgive past you. Past you was doing their absolute best. They were taking the actions they thought they should take. They were doing it at the volume they could, had the confidence to do it. So if you need to forgive yourself, forgive yourself. Someone recently, when we were talking about this in Starship chat, said, I cognitively know that I don't need to forgive myself because I didn't do anything wrong, but I'm just so mad at myself. So if that's you, forgive yourself. Maybe you need to write a note. Hey, past Tara, I forgive you for doing your absolute best and not doing more. I forgive you for only sending out 2 emails when you should have sent out 20. Let it go. And then move on. Start taking action. I think a lot of times we think, well, I started this business 6 months ago or 2 years ago and I'm only at this point. So look, you could get stuck there forever. Or you can decide, I'm going to move on from here. I don't know how many business stories I have heard of people who were super slow to get started. Maybe they didn't do anything for the 6 months or 5 years, and then they kicked into gear and they did it. So wherever you are is fine. You can always take the action to move to the goal, and it's okay. Go back and revisit these questions. Like I said, there's a worksheet at taraswiger.com/podcast163 to move you through these questions that I asked here today. Also, pull out a journal, really write down your answers. If you want your business to grow faster, you need to learn from what you're learning each month, each quarter that you work on your goal and reach it or don't reach it. I hope that helps you plan the next half of your year and get it in alignment with where you really want to be at the end of the year. And I hope you've learned some big lessons so far this year and that you are putting them into practice. I mentioned that you can break down your goals or get clear about the big picture with my book, Map Your Business. You'll find that at taraswiger.com/map. You'll find the worksheet for today's episode at taraswiger.com/podcast163. Thank you so much for listening and I hope you have a super enthusiastic day.